Hello again. Very often, when comments on this channel are deleted by some algorithm devised by YouTube, the suggestion is made that such actions are ultimately connected in some way with the ethnicity of Susan Wojcicki, who is the CEO of YouTube. Wojcicki is, of course, Jewish, and it is suggested that this ties in with things like the Kalergi Plan, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, all the rest of it. I suppose that this is possible, but I can think of a simpler explanation. And if in doubt, I will always adopt the simplest explanation of some phenomenon which covers all the known facts. As I'm sure some viewers are aware, this is known as Occam's razor. Here is one fact that all of us have observed. People using the internet are increasingly likely to be offended or upset by what they see or read there. When we wander around a library, we see lots of books, some of them interesting, others of which contain views with which we disagree. Few of us, though, would march up to the librarian and demand that books be removed from the library because we don't agree with the authors. Normal people simply move on and look at another shelf. The same thing applies to bookshops. I'm not really a fan of Hitler's, but I can see a copy of Mein Kampf on sale without being traumatized. I simply don't buy it or even look at it. And then we're all happy. Something about the internet, though, seems to alter people's perception of this normal way of living our lives. Instead of moving on and looking elsewhere, people viewing material on the internet seem hypnotized by things with which they profoundly disagree and become distressed and anxious that such things are on display. The perspective here is not that the onus is on them to look at something else, but that it is the responsibility of the person holding such views to leave the internet entirely and stop expressing those opinions via this medium. Another way of dealing with the problem might be to attack the people who run websites where people can express opinions, places like Twitter and YouTube, and punish them for allowing somebody to say something which others might find hurtful or offensive. As I'm sure we know, Britain is now introducing the Online Safety Bill for that very purpose. Safety in this context does not mean safety from attack, either against people or their property, but rather safety from reading things with which we might disagree. So it is that some people believe, for example, that men and women are biologically different, something I talked about this morning. Some people disagree with this view and have coined an expression, transphobia, to suggest that anybody who thinks in this way makes them feel unsafe. In the same way, those who hold unusual views on the control of viruses, the desirability of unrestricted immigration, and a dozen other things are, it is alleged, making those who hold different opinions on the matter feel unsafe or in danger. Not physical danger, of course, but at risk of suffering psychological harm by being annoyed or upset by what they read on the internet. Of course, put like this, it sounds quite mad. This is because it is. I'm sure that if I had a quick look around the internet, I could find all sorts of things which might annoy me or which sound to me like dangerous nonsense. I could hunt out that kind of thing, or I could stick looking at things which won't wind me up or raise my blood pressure. In a nutshell, new laws like this are why social media sites are getting nervous and becoming more and more likely to delete comments and get rid of the accounts of people who say too many things that are likely to irritate or distress a lot of people. The fact that anybody commenting here using the words like Zionist or Jew is likely to see their comment vanish is part of this movement. I have myself used the word Zionist and watched as the comment was removed. This is not because Susan Wojcicki is Jewish, but rather because some Jews are a bit touchy and complain often about what they perceive as anti-Semitism. It is safer just to delete any comments about Zionists or Jews, and then nobody can be upset. Of course, the problem then is that people like me who are actually Zionists are then unable to argue in favour of this or that aspect of Zionism, which is annoying. What the algorithm does in this case is simply stop any discussion at all. The law being debated in Parliament will bring in enormous fines for social media sites like YouTube, which do not remove stuff even before anybody complains about it. It will create a so-called duty of care towards people using the internet to ensure that they cannot be exposed to anything unsuitable or upsetting in case it causes them harm. Of course, the harm here does not mean what most of us would understand by the word harm. That is to say, being punched or shot, having your house blown up or burned down or otherwise damaged. It means harm in the sense that somebody will not like what they have read or might be incited by what they have read to do something dangerous or illegal. I need hardly point out that books can have this effect too, but this is not really a good reason for censoring or preventing the distribution of books. Should we really prohibit the sale of Mein Kampf in case somebody reading it then feels motivated to invade Poland or persecute Jews? So it is that YouTube and Twitter are cleaning up their acts and showing that they are no slouches when it comes to preventing harm. I give links in the description to this video to one or two sources so that people can see what is happening on the legal front in Britain about this.